2 of the trial of Bishop Stephen Zondo of the Rivers of Living Waters Ministries. Well, yesterday, the first witness took the stand. The victim alleged she was raped by Zondo when she was still a minor. Zondo faces charges of rape, indecent assault, and defeating the ends of justice. It's alleged the incidents he's accused of started in the 1980s and continued right up until 2018. He has pleaded not guilty to the charges. Our reporter Pule Letshwiti-Jones is covering this case. He joins us now live from the High Court in Pretoria. Pule, can you just describe some of the witness testimony that was heard yesterday? Apparently it was disturbing and fairly heartbreaking.
Well, quite honestly, eNCA, it was quite, horrific incidences that were described by the first witness yesterday, who actually detailed how she was allegedly raped by Stephen Zondo around 1980 to 81. Not quite precise about the year, but she says it was quite around that year. But she was quite clear that she was a minor at the time when that happened. She details how she was actually playing outside with siblings and children who were living around the neighborhood. Then she was then called by Stephen Zondo inside the house, where she entered through a kitchen door. Then from there on, Zondo, who was wearing shorts and a vest, called her to actually come into a room where then everything then unfolded, where she was allegedly raped by Mr. Zondo there. At the time, she says that she was living with her grandparents, but there was no one at the house to actually oversee or protect her from anything that would happen at that place. What we understand is that Zondo then gave her R1 at that point to say she should actually keep quiet and not tell anyone about it, and she should buy something at school. And that is where, the testimony was unfolding. She was being cross-examined by the state prosecutor. And we do understand that the first witness, who has described Zondo as the paternal uncle, is expected to continue with her testimony this morning.
R1 for her troubles, Pule.
R1, and it was quite shocking as well, and she has detailed how her life was actually threatened, and she says that she could not tell anyone. She was quite afraid. She was a minor at that point in time, and she has actually gone on to say Zondo took advantage of her, and those are quite, sad incidences and events that are being detailed by her today. But, the legal defense, of course, representing Stephen Zondo, Jeffrey Ratlagane, has made it quite clear that some of these events, or rather allegations leveled against Zondo, will not stick. In fact, they're saying they're waiting for senior counsel, Mr. Pistorius, to cross-examine the witness this morning. But they're quite sure that, this has been dragging on, rather, the case has been dragging on and going for a while, and they said they're quite, adamant that they have a strong case against some of the witnesses. But as it is right now, like you've mentioned, Annika, Zondo has pleaded not guilty to some of the 10 counts of rape level against him, and it will be quite an interesting morning to see how some of these witnesses will be unfolding some of the allegations that they will be leveling against Zondo.
Pule, before I let you go, court usually starts at 10 o'clock. Just to put into context the kind of influence that the bishop had in terms of those around him, and why it may have taken his alleged victims some courage to come forward.
Annika, to be quite honest, is the bishop who's been popular for his works, especially in the area in Vaal where he preaches. This has been quite ongoing for some time. Pastors play such a crucial role in society in terms of helping those who believe they've sinned again, they're carrying a burden in sins, to actually cleanse themselves when they enter a church. And that's why you'd now see civic organizations saying they're coming after, and I quote, rogue pastors who are, causing illnesses in society. And when pastors are respectable, this is what the witness said, that they then turn to actually use their power to manipulate those who are vulnerable, and only come to them when they seek help. Annika, let's go down a few years back. We saw with the likes of Timothy Omotosho now, who's actually facing a jail time. We're seeing with the likes of Prophet Shepherd Bushiri, who escaped the country while he was about to go on trial. And these are very likely key role players in society who people believe in them, And there's quite a lot of bishops as well and pastors who've been alleged to have done such ill illnesses in society. And when power is being used to manipulate those who are vulnerable, that's where we see this, these kind of actions being very wrong. I mean, Annika, let's go to Rwanda. You hear President Paul Kagame saying they in their country will be actually taking action against men of cloth who are using their power to manipulate those who are vulnerable. And those are the kind of things that we're seeing right now when we're back in South Africa, that some of these civic organizations are calling for tough restrictions and regulations on these churches that are using people.
Well, its case is still ongoing, and we still have to use the word allegedly, of course, because Bishop Zondo has to enter into some sort of explanation. And Timothy or Matoso, their trials are ongoing and they have not been found guilty yet. So it'll be interesting to see what their full defense is. Well, that was our reporter, Pule Letshwiti-Jones, with the latest from the case there.